Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are continuing our journey through a very specific roadmap today. This is a podcast series entirely dedicated to financial independence, and we're unpacking the strategy step by step.
And this series is based on the Golden Path strategy. It's a three-stage system for building financial independence, and it was developed by Tamir Kaham. He is the originator and architect of the three-stage 13-step strategy and the creator of the YouTube channel, The Golden Path to Financial Independence. He is also the official Hebrew translator of The Richest Man in Babylon.
And, every time we introduce that, I sort of pause on it because it really defines why this system feels so different. You're getting this blend of, modern systems engineering, very structured, very logical, mixed with very old, timeless money wisdom. It's that combination. Engineering discipline meets the timeless principle of ownership. It really grounds everything.
It absolutely does. It's what transforms the strategy from just, saving money or budgeting into a real roadmap for transforming employees into asset owners. And today is a significant day in that timeline.
It feels huge. Just to orient everyone listening, this strategy is designed specifically for salaried individuals. People with a paycheck who want to move from financial dependence to asset ownership and, freedom of choice. And today, we are hitting a massive milestone.
We are. A huge one.
In the previous episode, Step 10, we officially finished Stage 2. We built shields around our financial life risk management, insurance, basically making sure that one bad event couldn't destroy years of progress. It was all about resilience.
That's right. We spent a lot of time in Stage 2 playing defense. We were building the hull of the ship, making sure it was airtight. But today, we crossed the threshold. We are officially entering Stage 3, growth and financial freedom. This is Step 11, acquiring your first income-producing asset.
Step 11. This is the moment everyone waits for. We've done the budgeting, the saving, the debt elimination. It feels like we've been in boot camp, scrubbing the floors, and now we're finally being given a mission. But before we get into the what do I buy questions, which I know everyone wants to jump to, I want to talk about the feeling of this step. Because the source material describes this as a psychological pivot point. Why is this one step so heavy on the psychology?
Because up until now, asset owner has been a theory. It's been a label you've stuck on your vision board while you were paying off debt or saving an emergency fund. You've been acting like an owner, but technically looking at your bank account, you were still just a well-managed employee.
You were cleaning up the mess, basically.
Exactly. You were fixing the foundation. But Step 11 changes the reality. There is a specific moment that changes everything. It's the moment you receive your first dollar that you did not have to trade your time for.
The unearned dollar.
Yes. And I really want you to visualize this. It doesn't matter if it's a dividend check for $10 or a rent payment or a royalty of 50 cents. When that money hits your account, it proves the system works. It breaks the time for money paradigm permanently.
It's almost like a glitch in the matrix for your brain. You're sitting there having coffee, and your phone buzzes, and you made money. You realize, wait, I was asleep, or I was walking the dog, and my money went to work without me.
Precisely. It's the difference between reading a book about swimming and actually jumping into the pool. You can't unknow that feeling. And if we go back to our rocket analogy, which Tamir uses to frame this whole journey, this is the most critical maneuver of the flight.
Okay, let's reestablish that analogy because it really helps visualize where we are. Stage 1 was the launch pad. Stage 2 was escaping gravity, fighting the drag of debt, stabilizing the shaking ship. What is Step 11 in this context?
Step 11 is the orbital insertion burn.
Orbital insertion. Okay, break that down for us.
Yeah. Well, think about a rocket launch. The first few minutes are violent. It's all noise, vibration, fighting gravity just to stay in the sky. That's a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. You stop the engine, you fall back to Earth. Even in Stage 2, you're climbing, but you're still fighting gravity.
Right, you're still pushing uphill.
But when a rocket reaches orbit, the shaking stops. The engine's cut off or throttled down, and yet you don't fall. You begin to circle the planet, generating your own momentum. Your first income-producing asset is that initial orbital capture. It's a small but continuous thrust of cash flow. You're no longer just surviving and fighting gravity. You're capturing orbit.
That is such a powerful image. Because I think most people feel like they're constantly throttling the engines just to hover. If they stop working for a month, they crash. This step is about building an engine that keeps you up there without you constantly pushing the throttle.
Correct. But, and this is a big but, to stay in orbit, you need the right kind of fuel. And this brings us to the guiding principle of Step 11, which is non-negotiable in the Golden Path strategy. Cash flow is king.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because in the investment world, especially if you watch financial news, You hear a lot about appreciation versus cash flow.
Mm.
People get obsessed with the value of things going up. Buy this stock, it'll double next year.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we so fixated on cash flow here?
Because we have to go back to the definition of what an asset actually is. Based on our source material, the definition is very strict, almost brutally simple. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out.
So let me play devil's advocate here, because I know people are thinking it. If I buy a piece of art, or let's say a plot of raw land that just sits there, and I'm 90% sure it's going to double in value in 10 years.
Yeah.
In this framework, that's not an asset.
For the purpose of financial independence, no. That is speculation. Maybe a store value. But think about it. Does that plot of land pay your grocery bill next month?
No. In fact, I probably have to pay property tax on it.
Exactly. It's taking money out. It's a liability until the day you sell it. An asset owner trains their brain to ask one question reflexively. Does this create income or consume it?
That's a huge distinction. You're not looking for the next big thing that explodes in value. You're looking for a steady stream that replaces a bill.
Right. A true asset creates positive cash flow. Appreciation, the value going up is a bonus. It's the cherry on top. But cash flow is the meal. Cash flow is what buys freedom. If you have $1 million in non-paying assets, you are technically rich on paper, but you still have to go to work tomorrow to eat.
That puts it into perspective. Freedom is paid for by cash flow, not net worth. You can't spend your house's value at the grocery store unless you sell it.
Exactly. And relying on selling assets to survive is a completely different strategy, one that involves much higher risk. We are building a machine that produces income.
Now, knowing this, I feel like the biggest hurdle isn't actually finding these assets. The hurdle is internal. It's the perfection trap.
This is the barrier that stops most launches. We see this all the time. People wait for the perfect deal. They wait for the interest rates to drop. They wait until they read one more book. But perfection, it's just an illusion.
I feel attacked right now. I am definitely guilty of analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
You feel like if you don't find the absolute best return, or if you make a mistake on the first one, you're an idiot.
And that fear leads to never moving.
Right?
But here is the concept from the Golden Path that really flips this on its head. You need to stop viewing losses as losses.
What should we view them as?
Tuition.
Tuition. Okay, explain that.
In this strategy, mistakes and setbacks are viewed as the tuition you pay for your financial education. When you went to university, you paid thousands of dollars for a degree, right?
It's too much, probably.
Did you expect a financial return immediately from that payment? No. You paid for the knowledge. When you buy your first asset, if you lose a little money or it doesn't perform perfectly, you haven't lost. You have paid tuition to the University of Reality.
I love that framing. It takes the sting out of it. It's not a failure. It's the cost of the lesson.
Exactly. And wouldn't you rather pay tuition on a small, contained first asset, maybe a $500 investment, than on a massive portfolio later? The asset owner asks, what is a sensible, contained first move I can learn from while my protections stand behind me? Okay. They don't ask, is there risk? Because there is always risk. They ask, is this risk managed?
That's why we did all that work in stage 2. That makes so much sense now. We have the emergency fund. We have the insurance. We have the shields. So if this first asset helps us pay tuition, it doesn't sink the ship.
Precisely. You aren't jumping off a cliff. You are performing a controlled maneuver because you built your shields in steps 7 through 10. That's why the order matters. If you tried this in step 1, a mistake could ruin you. In step 11, a mistake is just a lesson.
Okay, so let's get practical. We're ready to pay tuition if necessary. We want cash flow. We have our shields up. How do we select the vehicle? Because there are a million options out there. Stocks, crypto, real estate, vending machines.
And there is no one-size-fits-all answer. This is where people get stuck, looking for the best one. The best asset depends entirely on your skills, your temperament, and your resources.
Give us a lay of the land. What are the main categories the Golden Path suggests looking at?
Well, the classics are obviously there. Paper assets like dividend stocks or index funds, these are great because they are truly passive. You buy them, they pay you. You don't have to fix a roof.
But you have to stomach the volatility.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with seeing red numbers sometimes.
Right. Then there is real estate rental units, REITs, or partnerships. This is often seen as the holy grail.
Real estate always feels like the heavy hitter. Everyone wants to be a landlord until the toilet breaks.
It is the heavy hitter for many, but it requires a specific temperament. If you hate fixing things, or you hate dealing with property managers, or you get stressed when a tenant calls at midnight, physical real estate might be a miserable job for you, not an asset.
What about things that aren't stocks or houses?
Absolutely. Digital assets content, intellectual property, royalties, or a small business, maybe a side operation, or buying a stake in an existing business. The key advice here is don't chase the best industry. Choose the field you are willing to study and master.
That ties back to the identity shift, doesn't it? The asset is a mirror.
It is. It reflects who you are becoming. If you are becoming a person who understands digital systems, maybe a digital asset is right. If you love analyzing companies, maybe dividend stocks are your path.
So it's about alignment. I really like that. It takes the pressure off finding the magic bullet that everyone else is talking about on Twitter.
Correct. But even with alignment, people fall into common traps. We need to watch out for these because they can derail the launch.
Let's run through the big ones. What's mistake number one?
Mistake number one, waiting for a lot of money. People think, I need $50,000 or $100,000 to become an asset owner.
I think that's the default assumption. I'm not rich enough to invest.
It's completely wrong. The correction is to start small. Fractional shares, small partnerships. You can buy your first income-producing asset for the price of a dinner out in some cases. Remember, the identity shift matters more than the size of the check.
Right. Getting that first $5 dividend check changes your brain just as much as a larger one. It proves the concept. What's the next one?
Mistake number two is paralysis by analysis. We touched on this, but the correction is vital. Action with protection is better than perfect research. You can research for 10 years and never own a thing.
I think mistake number three is one we see in the headlines a lot, chasing the hot stock.
Yes, ignoring cash flow for appreciation. That's mistake number three. Buying something because you hope it will sell for more later. Again, cash flow is what buys freedom. If you focus on appreciation, you are gambling on the future price. If you focus on cash flow, you are securing your present reality.
And mistake number four.
Thinking real estate is the only real asset, we get tunnel vision. Just because your neighbor made money in apartments doesn't mean you have to. There are many vehicles, digital, paper, business. Don't force yourself into a box.
So we've covered the mindset, the vehicle selection, and the traps. Now we need to move from analysis paralysis to responsible action. The outline gives us a specific weekly challenge, and I like this because it forces you to stop spectating.
This is where we shift gears. The challenge for this week is simple but demanding.
Lay it out for us.
Step one, choose one asset class to research this week. Just one. Don't try to learn everything about crypto and real estate and stocks at once. Pick one lane.
Focus. Got it.
Step two, learn the basics, understand the risks, and exactly how it generates income. Where does the money come from? Step three, determine the initial investment amount. And this is crucial, host. Where must this money come from?
It must be money beyond your emergency fund. Never touch the shield to buy the sword.
Exactly. The emergency fund is sacred. That money protects you. This new money is for growth. And step four, set a deadline. 30 to 90 days. Put it on the calendar. By this date, I will own my first asset.
A deadline makes it real. Otherwise, it's just a someday project. And again, we do this within the protective context we built in stage 2. We aren't being reckless. We are being deliberate.
Exactly. You are performing a controlled maneuver.
Before we wrap up, I think it's important we pause for a reality check. We're talking about money, risk, and future planning.
Yes. At this point, it's important to pause and clarify something essential. This episode is not financial advice. It presents a structured thinking framework only. There are no guarantees. Responsibility for decisions remains entirely with the listener.
That means we aren't telling you to go buy a specific stock or a specific property. We are explaining the system of becoming an asset owner.
The fact that this strategy worked for Tamir Kaham does not mean it will automatically work for you. Your circumstances, goals, personality, risk tolerance, execution quality, and market conditions are different. You are responsible for evaluating and deciding what applies to your life. Listeners must consult qualified professionals, accountants, advisors, lawyers before making significant financial, investment, legal, or tax decisions.
Okay, thank you for that. It's important to keep us grounded. Now, looking at the big picture, we've achieved orbit. We have that first asset.
Synthesis is key here. Independence doesn't start with 100 assets. It starts with one. Manual effort, your job, your saving got you to orbit. Assets keep you there. You have crossed the line from employee to asset owner.
It's a huge moment. And once you have one, the question becomes, what next?
You've acquired your first income-producing asset. You're now in asset orbit. In episode 11, we move to step 12, building a portfolio of income-producing assets. We'll cover how to scale from one asset to many, diversification strategies, and how to build a system of income engines that progressively reduce your dependence on salary.
I can't wait for that. From one engine to a fleet.
Exactly. So subscribe for the full series where each episode delivers 1 or 2 clear steps forward. And join the YouTube channel for visuals and more deep dive episodes on the strategy, the golden path to financial independence.
At youtube.com/, capital TAMIR, capital GOLD, capital PATH.
That's see you in Tamir Gold Path. Or simply search YouTube for The Golden Path to Financial Independence.
See you in episode 11, where we explore how to move from one asset to a growing system. Your first asset is your entry into a new world. Welcome to Asset Orbit.